Hey, DJ Fox here again with Outside the Jungle. My personal favorite articles of all of them, but I think that's a biased opinion, seeing as the fact that I write the article. Here, if you haven't read the article recently, maybe you're a new monkey, maybe you just never read it before, maybe you're just weird. Here you'll find news articles of recent news events over the past four in this case, weeks. And you will never find any controversial news such as political or religion unless I feel they are of uttermost importance. That's not likely, though. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to tell me. I'm open to criticism. Starting off, we have something called Google Tweet, or it says it's about Google. It says TweetDeck executives return fire to Steve Jobs' anti-Android rant. This is by far one of my favorite news articles this week, simply because it was a Google versus Apple, which was quite hilarious. In summary, though, what would it take to inspire the Google executive in charge of Android to post his first ever tweet? A 5-minute diatribe about how Android's fragmented ecosystem is a mess, uttered by none other than Steve Jobs himself. And let me tell you, if you read this article, you'll find Steve Jobs is by far an idiot. He said some of the most stupid things, half of which was not even confirmed information. The next piece of news article we have here is about the Mexico town police force after attack decided to quit. And basically the entire force of a small northern Mexican town has quit after gunmen attacked their headquarters. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to work there either if I had a gang attacking me. I'm sure you might have heard by now, it's kind of become a bit of news. The cartel gang has been quite obtrusive. Next up, I'm sure you might have heard last month an airliner that was heading from, I believe, New Zealand to Singapore had an engine catch on fire. It was a Qantas flight, and disturbingly enough, this engine was made by Rolls-Royce, who makes very, very fancy cars. So there was a Qantas Boeing 747, had 431 people that were on board. They did land safely in Singapore. It was, they said the engine caught fire minutes after it took off from the city-state, the airline said. Next up is kind of an interesting one here. Title of it, Walmart machines pay for trash. How often will you ever hear that? Walmart machines pay for trash. But you know, between me and you only, I think Walmart's making their products out of the trash that we collect. But anyway, it says, love it or hate it, there's no doubt that the Walmart is a powerful force. Yes, they use the force. Although some people think the retail behemoth is a force of evil, it pushes out mom and pop businesses, has been accused of wage law violations, inadequate health care, exploiting workers, and having anti-union stance. Yeah, I would definitely say it's a force of evil with all that. What good comes out of Walmart? Nothing. Target has some good things. They don't take advantage of their employees. Anyways, moving on here. Your flexible spending accounts may be getting less flexible. If you're one of the 20 million or so Americans with a flexible spending account for healthcare, get ready for some changes. Starting January 1st, you'll no longer be able to set aside pre-tax dollars in that account to use for medicines bought without a doctor's prescription. That sounds like it's going to be slightly problematic. Next up, an article called Cats' Tongues Employ Tricky Physics. I'm sure you may have noticed by now that when cats drink water, they rarely spill a single drop of it. Or the dog, they drink water, it just goes all over the place. Half the bowl ends up on the floor. Cats rule. As a summary of this article says, cats like to do their own way, even it seems when it comes to drinking. Researchers have discovered that felines have their own style of lapping water. Their tongues perform a complex maneuver that pits gravity versus inertia in a delicate balance. Well, that is interesting. Next up, Americans are wary of genetically engineered foods. Would you eat a genetically engineered salmon? Are you even sure the difference is between the regular variety and one that's been tweaked to grow faster? What could this news article behold? Find out in Outside the Jungle. I wonder, is it possible to travel to another star? Discovery may have answered that question for us. At last count, exoplanet hunters have dead-eyed 495 distant worlds. Granted, none of them are Earth-like, but what will we do if such a world finally pops up? Will we be able to travel there in person? Or maybe send a probe? Or are interplanetary relationships doomed to remain long distance? You might find out in this news article. After 50 days adrift, 3 teens have been rescued from the South Pacific. 3 teens who had been missing since the South Pacific for 50 days and were already eulogized in a memorial service have been found alive by New Zealand fishing boat. Woo, go New Zealand. They actually did some good there. Woohoo. We're almost up to the end here. This one's particularly bugging me because it's just pointing out just how much closer we are to World War III. The United States carrier has visited the China waters. They're saying it could be a dilemma for China. As this weekend's arrival of a United States aircraft carrier in the Yellow Seas poses a dilemma for Beijing. Should it protest angrily and aggravate ties with Washington? Or quietly accept the presence of a key symbol of American military preeminence off Chinese shores? Well, I tell you, North Korea certainly did stick their foot in their mouth this time. Next up, frustrated Obama sends nation rambling 75,000-word email. Having admittedly reached the end of his rope, President Barack Obama sent a rambling 75,000-word email to his entire nation Wednesday, revealing deep frustrations with America's political culture, his presidency, U.S. citizens, and himself. And most of what he said really was just rambling. I read probably about 3 sentences and I got bored. Last but not least, North Korea warns retaliation if provoked. Last I checked, they were the ones who started the fight. It does say, as the United States and Seoul prepare for joint military exercises, North Korea is warning of more retaliation if South Korea carries out reckless military provocations. I know I said that was last. Before that, my cat wants to say hi. Yes, he is a very large cat. But after that, that's all we have for this edition Outside the Jungle. And due to severe delay in release of this edition, about half of the source of news that I had planned for this were expired or old and boring. So I apologize for the lack of news, and due to time constraints from being editor-in-chief as well as a mentor, still, and real life, I decided to just post links to full articles with a brief summary of each story. A few pictures included as well. And then of course this, I guess you call it a vlog. I'm not sure what you call this, but it's the video version. Also, the rest of the articles I write to add a little bit more zest to them. And please let me know what you think. And as usual, if you find any interesting news, please submit it to me, and I will see about having it included in the next edition of Outside the Jungle.